along the way, in addition to escaping all these horrors, he had killed his older half-brother, Bechter.
And that, too, was a deeply formative experience. So what was that about? Can you explain in Mongol society the role of the older brother and the power struggle there? And, not to moralize, but there's also, the ethical foundation behind the murder.
The killing of Bechter, that's one of the things that's totally unknown outside of the secret history of the Mongols. None of the Persian chronicles, none of the Chinese chronicles, none of them knew about this until the secret history was deciphered and translated. But Bechter was the older child of Xochitl, and as such, the older brother has complete authority over the younger siblings in Mongolian society. They have to refer to him with a special pronoun all the time, ta, and he refers to them as chi. It's like a formality. And his word goes. He is the father in the absence of the father. But also it's quite common that if a man dies and his brothers, he has no brothers, or his brothers do not marry his widow, then if he has a son by another wife, she will become his wife. So it would have been common that Bechter eventually, when he passed through puberty, would then perhaps marry Mother Erlun. Now, I don't know that happened, but I think either it did or Temujin was trying to prevent it, because it was bad enough that he was the older brother, but he becomes the older brother and a stepfather. I think Temujin just couldn't handle that. And he was already, Bechter was ordering him around, so he would take things like a fish or a bird that Temujin had caught, and that's perfectly acceptable in the Mongol hierarchy.
So Temujin would catch a fish, and Bechter would take the fish.
Yes, it's only recorded once, but it perhaps happened several times.
So that's an okay thing to do for an older brother. Just take stuff.
Yes, he can do anything he wants just about with his younger siblings. That's, yeah. But Temujin is not going to stand for it. So mostly in the record, they kind of put the blame on this fish, which I'm not so sure that's really the blame. And the boys had actually taken the sewing needles from their mother. They were using them for fishing. And I think it was more complicated than that. But for whatever reason, he and his next brother, Hasser, decided to kill him. And they did.
Why, to you, is it more complicated than that? It feels to me like stealing of a fish is like the final straw. Here, he's being abused.
Yes.
Over and over and over. And the fish is a symbol of that.
Yes.
And so here he takes matters into his own hands.
I think it is the symbol of that, and it can be the thing that pushes him over the edge. But it's all these other tensions of what's going on with the family. Because they shoot him with arrows, they kill him. But what happens afterwards is also interesting for the dynamics of what was going on before, because we hear nothing from Xochitl. She and her younger son, Belgatai, they stay with the family. They don't go away. But the one who is outraged is Mother Erlun, his mother. She screams and hollers at him in the longest kind of tirade you can imagine about, you will never have anybody in your life except your own shadow. And, you are worse than everything that she could name. They could be worse than. She was outraged and went on and on and on about it. So she was obviously extremely distressed about it, whereas Xochitl, the mother of the boy, she may have been distressed, I don't know, but nothing is shown up in the record. So he does have this episode of having killed off his brother, but I don't think it was a deeply meaningful, I think it was important, but I don't think it was emotionally deeply meaningful for Temujin. The brother was gone, the problem was solved, mother is extremely ticked off at him, but
it does show, in fact, it's interesting if it's not a big deal for him, it does show that he's willing to resort to murder to take care of a bad situation.
Yes. He is capable of doing anything that needs to be done to resolve what he sees as a problem. Bechter was a problem. He resolved it at a very young age. So he'd had that experience behind him. But now Bechter's younger brother, Belgatai, is on the raid with him and with Tomoko when they go to capture Bersterback. So he has both loyalty, and Belgatai stays loyal to him his entire life. So it's very interesting.